What happens when a country declares war on birds and loses? In 1932, Australia sent soldiers with machine guns to fight thousands of emus. But these birds weren't just fast. They were smarter than anyone expected. This is the unbelievable true story of the Great Emu War, where the birds won and the humans went home embarrassed. Let's dive into one of history's weirdest battles. The Great Emu War of Australia is one of the most bizarre and hilarious events in history. It's a story of soldiers, machine guns, and thousands of emus running wild. But how did it start? Why did Australia declare war on birds? And how did the emus manage to outsmart the military? Let's rewind to 1932 and uncover the full story of this feathered fiasco. In the early 1930s, Australia was in the middle of the Great Depression. Many World War I veterans had been given land in Western Australia to farm wheat, but they were struggling. The soil was poor, the weather was harsh, and wheat prices were low. To make things worse, thousands of emus, big, flightless birds, migrated into the area, looking for food and water. These emus destroyed crops, broke fences, and left farmers in despair. Desperate for help, the farmers turned to the government. The government decided to take action. They sent in the military, led by Major G.P.W. Meredith, armed with 2 Lewis machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. The plan was simple: cull the emu population and save the farmers' livelihoods. But what happened next was anything but simple. On November 2nd, 1932, the soldiers encountered their first group of emus, about 50 birds. They opened fire, but the emus scattered in all directions, running at speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour, 31 miles per hour. The birds were fast, agile, and surprisingly tough. Despite their best efforts, the soldiers only managed to kill a handful of emus. The first battle was a failure. A few days later, the soldiers tried again. This time, they set up an ambush near a local dam, where over 1,000 emus had gathered. But things didn't go as planned. The machine guns jammed after killing only 12 emus, and the rest of the birds fled into the bush. The soldiers were outsmarted by a bunch of birds. The emus quickly learned to avoid the soldiers. They split into smaller groups, ran in unpredictable patterns, and disappeared into the wilderness. Major Meredith later joked that the emus seemed to have a field marshal leading them. The soldiers were no match for the birds' speed and cunning. After weeks of failed attempts, the military withdrew. In total, they had killed only about 50 emus, despite using thousands of rounds of ammunition. The farmers were still struggling, and the emus continued to roam free. The Great Emu War was over, and the birds had won. So, how did the emus win? First, they were incredibly fast and agile. Second, there were just too many of them, an estimated 20,000 emus in the area. And third, they adapted quickly, learning to avoid the soldiers and their weapons. It was a classic case of nature outsmarting humans. Today, the Great Emu War is remembered as one of the most absurd and hilarious moments in history. It's a reminder that even the most advanced technology can fail against the resilience of nature. And it's a story that continues to make people laugh and wonder, how did Australia lose a war to birds? So what do you think? Should Australia have tried harder? Or were the emus just too powerful? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more weird and wonderful stories from history. Thanks for watching.